Pigeon, did you know that you're interrupting a live stream? Do you know what a live stream is? Did you know that I'm one of the largest political live streamers? Hundreds of thousands of people every day, Pigeon. They hear my voice. And you're interrupting that. That's incredible. It's unimaginable how tiny a baby can interrupt so much. Maybe I should just do a whole segment like this. Do you think I could? I probably could, couldn't I? I got stuff to talk about. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to talk about Snap. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. Hi, YouTube. This is Vaush. At least it's half of him. I can see myself in the OBS window. I'm playing with my cat, who's being very annoying. You might see her in a bit, because she's death staring the ball of feathers I'm jiggling. Anyway, I want to talk to you about something, okay? I'm kind of limited in my ability to use the computer from where I'm sitting. But let's talk about Snap. You know what Snap is? Because I don't. Well, I do. I don't know what the acronym stands for. I know nutrition somewhere in there. Something nutrition, something. Look, it's a federal government program where people who make very little money in the United States have the ability to they essentially get a little ticket they can use on some food items. Not a lot of stuff, mind you. Can't use SNAP benefits on I think diapers, which is funny. You'd think that'd be an important thing, right? Like people who buy diapers generally like need the diapers for their kids. It's not usually a luxury, non-essential purchase, you know? I don't think you can buy pet food. Can't buy hot food. You know, the good grocery stores will have like the fried chicken in the little metal bin. It's like $8. You fill up a big bowl of it. That stuff's good. Can't have that. Not on Snap. Anyway, it's one of the few limited government services that we provide. Tiny fragment of a welfare state we have. Itty bitty bit. Oh, now Pigeon's going up on the desk. Ugh. Anyway, there was some discourse on Twitter on Snap where people were talking about whether or not it's messed up that poor people can't buy the hot food. Now, SNAP benefits are not much. How much is it, chat? We're really running off the cuff here. It's a couple hundred per month, I think. Obviously, it varies depending on a couple of factors, but it's 300, 250 a month. It's in that. There are probably some factors which vary the amount that you get. It's not a very large amount of money. That's Pigeon's tail. Very scuffed segment. That's how you know it's authentic. Oh, now she's going behind the computer. What a wise move. If you were an idiot. Which I guess she is. Don't knock that over. Computer equipment, don't. Anyway. Jesus. Look, it's not that much. It's not that much, and you're not allowed to get a lot of stuff on it, okay? And people were talking about whether or not it's messed up to deny poor people the ability. Right. Oh, sure, Pigeon, as long as we're entertaining you. To deny poor people the ability to buy hot food along with some other things. And the Twitter discourse was interesting because you get to see a split between, social democrats and people who pretend to be social democrats but are actually neoliberal, and people who call themselves neoliberal because they don't like saying social democrat but actually aren't really that neoliberal. America has a pretty gutted welfare system as it is, and the question always boils down to this. This is like the central question of anything pertaining to a welfare state, right? And it's how much can you trust poor people to make good use of services they're provided? That's like the big thing. So not being able to buy a bunch of stuff with SNAP benefits, from hot food, which I'd consider a fairly reasonable purchase, to, say, alcohol, which, while a fun thing you can buy, it's not usually essential to survival. People talk about if we just let people use their SNAP benefits on anything, then poor people will all waste their money on schnapps, and then they'll die of starvation. Not terribly sympathetic to this line of thinking. I saw a lot of people really showing their asses on Twitter. A Doomer Politics guy, the person who made the video about whether or not I was unironically evil, said that poor people are I think it was like poor people are stupid. It was more. It was pretty substantive actually. I think I liked a tweet recently that had a highlight of that. Anyway, they did that and then they deleted all their tweets, which is a classic DGG move right there. Oh yeah, here we go. I don't think this is like a joke. The whole thread was basically in that vein, but remember what I said about classism in that community? Yeah. Is doomer politics unironically evil? Valid question. Let's concentrate our thoughts a little bit and focus on actually delivering this segment, okay? Pigeon, please don't interrupt me. Can you be good? We talked recently in a segment when we were looking at Jordan Peterson besmirching poor people for being overweight. We talked about the incentive structures that lead poor people to buy a lot of fast food or that deny them the ability to make healthier food, whether because it's financially unavailable, they don't have access to the resources, or because they don't have time to cook healthy meals at home. Because while cooking healthy may be cheaper, cooking healthy is more time consuming unless you have a lot more money. Cooking healthy, look, you can cook healthy, but you can either cook healthy expensive or you can cook healthy time consuming. But you cannot cook healthy in a manner which is cheap and not time consuming consistently with a lot of meal variety. I mean, depending on how much you want to fastidiously micromanage your macros, maybe, but realistically, that's just not how people are. Cooking sucks. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It could be cooler. I don't know. Lots of things. It could be anime. Anime is not even cool. I don't know why I said that. I'm glad it's not anime. I prefer cooking to anime. So people talk about SNAP, and we're talking about whether or not poor people should be able to do this, that, the other. So usually there are a couple of directions that this conversation goes down. Okay, the socialist types will usually go, well, why do we have a SNAP program at all, right? Why don't we just give poor people money? Which makes sense, right? Rather than just having a SNAP program, you can just give poor people money. It's brilliant in its simplicity, really. But there is an issue that I take with that as well. And this comes back to the issue of decommodification. Because the problem is, it's not enough to have a commodified system where you give people the money to get the commodity, right? We have issues with that, and this is one of the reasons why SNAP is kind of expensive for the federal government, right? Because the federal government reimburses these grocery stores and such for when stuff is bought from them via SNAP, I believe, but they're paying these stores the price of those items. But when you buy stuff from a store, you're buying it after all of the commodity incentive structure oriented price markups that came along the way, right? When you buy a Twix bar at a grocery store for 99 cents, that Twix bar did not cost 99 cents to make, okay? If you were to take all of the combined costs of the production, distribution, transport, wrapping, everything of the Twix bar, you would not reach 99 cents. I imagine you would fall quite below that. Where are you finding 99-cent Twix bars? What? Shut up, loser. You're falling short. Yeah, who cares? Shut up. You're falling quite short. Now, when I think of like a decommodified SNAP program equivalent, what I think of is like, and I'm rough drafting this, okay? I'm sure there are people out there who have much more sensible ways of expressing their vision for this policy. But I think of like, like every grocery store has a federal obligation to, provide some goods per person at what you might call like a baseline price, or like, a non-profit incentive price. Like that's the cost of doing business here in the States. If you want to have a grocery store, you have to sell some of these items to people at cost. So you're not just getting your SNAP program benefits for, what do people pay, $500 for a bag of rice these days? You're getting it at cost, and the government would say, essentially, you do this or we'll kill you, which is something the government can say legally. Isn't that crazy? The store wouldn't carry those items, or they'll be killed. Lots of problems you can solve with with law, as it turns out. You can go that route. You can also go a more central planning route, have food banks controlled by the government where you could just go ahead and get stuff for damn near free. I've always liked that idea, like that you would have two different kinds of grocery stores, because we already have like 500 types of grocery stores, at least in cities, right? I mean, you have like the baseline ones that'll also sell you like shampoo and toilet paper, and then you have like the Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, fancier types that are a bit more expensive, but there are more. I don't want to put those in the same category because Whole Foods sucks and Trader Joe's is pretty okay, at least in my mind. I'm sure they both have horrible labor practices. I'm just talking about my experiences in those two stores. Also, I think the guy who owns Whole Foods is like a libertarian. Yeah, didn't he go on Joe Rogan? Yeah. Yeah, he did. I went over that video. I think. Whole Foods is owned by Amazon? How long has that been the case? The owner of Trader Joe's is 99% a Nazi, dude? Okay. Moving on. The idea of a kind of federal food bank where they just have a lot of basic subsistence foods is kind of neat to me. Like imagine if you had a SNAP program kind of, and it wasn't for every place. Maybe it's like a separate thing. You can get this much stuff from the food bank, and it would work essentially like a kind of rations depot, like you get this guy, okay, well you get like 40 pounds of rice this month, or like not just rice of course, but milk, eggs, whatever else, beans, nuts. Nuts are expensive, maybe not, something like that. The issue then is you've kind of done the problem but from reverse, right? If the issue we're talking about is that SNAP doesn't let you buy hot foods, food depots don't tend to have hot foods, so we're really just using decommodification as a way of streamlining the process of keeping poor people from their food. There are more radical ways of addressing these issues. I mean, decommodification is a fine tool that can be applied in a number of ways. And I feel like I'm just rambling, and I think I'm okay with that, so we're just going to keep in vain with that. There are a number of ways in which you could apply these solutions, but the issue that I have consistently with decommodification-oriented solutions, and the problem you're going to keep running into over and over and over again, is that it's expensive. Food is expensive. What is the cost of SNAP? It's like $48 billion a year. That's not a small amount. The federal government, $48 billion a year. That's a lot of money. That's a good amount of money, Not really? No, it really is. Especially because SNAP isn't enough. You want more robust programs, right? This is why welfare can never function in the United States unless you're willing to circumnavigate the market. Imagine a public option, a government-run healthcare plan that pays the same rates you would for the medical services that you get. That program would be bankrupted in 6 months. We all know how the insurance scam works, right? Insurance companies and hospitals, lean up to each other, and the hospital's like, "Hey, okay, this costs like $5. All right, we're gonna charge him $5,000, but if you take the bill, we'll charge you $10." The insurance company's like, "Okay." Never can you see this issue more at hand than when you go get a service insured, but then pay for it uninsured. This happened to me recently. I don't currently have medical insurance because I'm a billionaire, thanks to you guys. And at this point, I just let things happen to me, and an entourage of slaves give me their organs when mine fail. And when I went to go get physical therapy, at first I thought I was insured, and as such, it was charged to an insurance company. Then I realized that I wasn't. Details aside, and I was charged the amount they were putting to my insurance company. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars every session. So I call the physical therapy place and I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, we're so sorry. This is the insurance rate, not the uninsured rate. Let me make this 1/4 of the price that we told you it was. And then it was 1/4 the price they told me it was. It's a very silly system. There was a study done recently showing that in some places it's actually cheaper to not be insured because even if you have gold level insurance, the amount you pay after the insurance company covers 80% is larger than the amount they'll charge you as an uninsured person. And since prices aren't posted at the door, some different hospitals will charge different amounts for the same procedure, meaning there's no way to competitively analyze the, hospital before deciding where to go with your appendix rupture, as one does. Phenomenal stuff there, that's disgusting. It's revolting. And there's nothing that I have to say about it that wouldn't get me TOS'd. It is genuinely disgusting. And that is one of the reasons why commodification, especially with systems and services and commodities that are non-negotiably, necessary, don't work with the market system. Markets work, kind of, with systems that are luxuries. Something that you don't need but you want. If you want something but you don't need something, that means that there is a reasonable metric by which you can weigh the cost of the good relative to your desire to have it. Now, I'm not saying there aren't issues with markets outside of, necessary commodities. There certainly are. But I think we can agree that the problems with markets multiply exponentially when you're talking about commodities and services that are necessary, like food. Food, medical services, housing. People will pay any amount of money to get these things because if they don't get these things, they either die or get closer to death, which is a non-desirable state of affairs for most people. Food just being one of those issues where, I don't know, do you guys really think the final state of, American welfare is the government spending hundreds of billions of dollars paying your inflated grocery bills for you? That, to me, seems like a less than efficient way of addressing the people's needs, Seems not good. Anyway, dividing my attention between the cat and the segment is actually very difficult. Tempest. Pigeon.